Hi folks, Richard from Inclusive Driving. In this video, we're going to talk about the often neglected subject of pulling up on the left-hand side of the road. It's something that you'll probably do in your first or maybe second lessons when you're learning to move the car and stop the car. But I feel that after that point, the subject is often neglected until the day of the driving test. As you'll see in this video, there are plenty more places to pull up on the left than you might first think. And knowing how to pull up in these places and knowing that they exist may help you on your driving test. We often talk of SCALP, which stands for Safe, Convenient and Legal Place. I think it's a good acronym. It helps me remember things. The key point in there is the word legal for me. I like to point out places where it's not legal to stop, and I'll often get the student, the learner driver, to list them for me. They'll often say things like bus stops, zebra crossings, motorways, all very good ideas. As we'll see, some of those actually you can stop in. The other element is safe. So when we ask students where would be unsafe to stop, they'll often give some good answers like on a bend, on a hill, at the top of a hill, next to other parked cars. Again, as you'll see in this video, sometimes we can stop on a bend. What we have to consider is, would we be obstructing the view of other drivers either in front of us or behind us? If where we park leaves them with a good clear view, then actually there's no problem stopping there. And finally we come to convenient. So that could be, is it convenient for where you want to get to? Or is it convenient for other people? So in this video, we're going to take a journey around some local roads in Wolverhampton and show you just how many places there are that you could identify that you wanted to stop at. Identify, for me, is another key point. When the examiner on your driving test does say, pull up on the left in a convenient place, we need to identify in our heads where we are going to stop. We can't just put a left signal on and then go hunting for a space. That's misleading other road users and inconveniencing them because they're waiting for you to stop and you're not stopping. So first of all, identify where you're going to stop. Then check the traffic situation behind you and in front using your mirrors and signal to say that you are going to stop fairly soon. I often point out that trees, lampposts, road signs, that sort of thing, are all good landmarks that could indicate a good place to stop, because those items, trees, lampposts, road signs, will never be blocking somebody's driveway. So you can be certain if you pull up next to that sign or lamppost or tree, you won't be blocking somebody's driveway. Of course, you have to consider the other things, such as, is it safe? Is it legal? Is it convenient? So in this example, we are well past a side road. We're on a wide road, so we're not impeding traffic flow. And we've got a telegraph pole and a lamppost, so we know that's not going to be by somebody's driveway. And another simple example, we've got some raised curb here, again by a bin and a sign, so we know that won't be in somebody's driveway. The road is wide, we're not causing inconvenience. And another very similar example, finding a raised bit of curb. Those three examples you probably could find yourself. But keep watching, we'll find some places that you may not have thought about to start with. Now you might be thinking about the side road that you can see on the right. We're not parked opposite it. We are more than 10 metres away from that junction. So we can legally park here. How about looking for a car that's already parked and see if you can pull in either in front or behind them. Double yellow lines are helpful. We can't park on them, but we can park immediately after them. And here we tuck up behind another parked car so that we're not blocking a driveway. And in this example, we can't stop on the zigzags by the pedestrian crossing, but we can stop immediately before them. All of this road would be fair game, wouldn't it? Raised curb, good visibility. And how about this example? Stopping just after the double yellow lines finish. Again, it's on a bend, but it's not a sharp bend. There's good visibility ahead and behind, so we're not causing danger to other road users here. And while we can't stop at the bus stop, we can stop just after it. Maybe go a car length beyond it, just to make it easier for the bus driver to move out into the traffic flow again. So here's another example of parking just after the bus stop. Make it easy for the bus driver. In this example, we have a cycle lane on the left. It's surrounded by a broken white line instead of a solid one, which means we can stop in it. Personally, I wouldn't, because I'm also a cyclist and I do appreciate the risk to cyclists of having to move around a parked car, but technically we can park here. If the cycle lane was marked with a solid white line, we would need to keep out and we could not park there. Here's an example of a bus stop that doesn't have any yellow lines next to it. Technically, we could park there. Again, let's be considerate though. The bus driver's got a job to do. The passengers have got to be able to cross the road as well. So let's move a little bit beyond the bus stop. In this example coming up, we're turning left onto a very narrow road. When it's a narrow road, we can park on either side, but it's nice if everybody parks on the same side. It just makes it easier for other traffic to get through without having to zigzag round lots of parked cars on each side of the road. Another point is maybe I couldn't get as close to this car as I did. If I leave a gap, it means that there are more passing places, whereas having to go around a long line of cars like this is maybe more difficult if there's traffic coming towards you. So consider on this occasion leaving some gaps for people to pull into as passing places. Here we're passing a school, so we've got yellow zigzags. That for me is an absolute no-no. Now the sign does say no stopping between certain hours, usually about 8 in the morning till 9:30, and then again at school finishing time, let's say 2:30 till 4:30. For me, if it was a school day, well, there is always the possibility that children could be coming and going from school. Personally, I wouldn't ever park on zigzags, even outside of the allowed times. And can you imagine what a nightmare it would be on a road this narrow anyway? On this road we're coming to the top of a hill with cars on the opposite side. I probably wouldn't park there. Here's a cycle lane going in the opposite direction to the one before. Again, it's a broken line, so we can stop in there if we want to. Personally, I would avoid it. So we're back onto a residential road. Here we can look for the spaces between driveways, so in between drop curbs. Again, we can stop there. On this one, I had a look around. I felt I was still just impeding on somebody's driveway, so I checked my mirrors and I just move on to the next driveway, which I was happy was a little bit wider and I wasn't impeding anybody's access to their driveway. So here comes another example, this time stopping on a single yellow line. As long as we check the times on the signpost and be certain that the parking restrictions are not in force at that time, then we can legally park there. Here's a single yellow line. We are outside of the times shown on the sign, so in effect this single yellow line is not there. How about this example on double yellow lines? If we are picking up and dropping off passengers, then we can legally stop there as long as we drive on again and don't leave the car there. On this road, there's nothing to say we can't stop on the left-hand side of the road, but would it be convenient? Would it be safe? We've got plenty of lay-bys on the left, not this bus stop, but beyond this bus stop we've got lots of lay-bys on the left where we could pull into there. Now this example might surprise you. We're coming up to a bus lane and the bus lane has double yellow lines in it. We are allowed to stop on double yellow lines in a bus lane if we are dropping off or picking up passengers. If these were red lines, it would be no stopping, so we would be breaking the law there. But yellow lines, even if they're in a bus lane, we can stop there for dropping off and picking up passengers. Just be sure to move out of the bus lane as soon as it's practical. Here's another example coming up of stopping by a school. The yellow zigzags indicate no stopping during the hours shown on the sign. That's normally school start time and school finish time. We're filming this on a Sunday, so I've got no problems stopping on the lines anyway today. As I've said before, personally I wouldn't stop on zigzags anywhere near a school during school time. So here's another example coming up where we stop on a single yellow line, having checked the times of operation. When there's a single yellow line, try and pull up near the lamppost, because that's where the sign will be telling you whether you can or can't stop there. So here we aim for place by the lamppost. There's the sign on there. You can't see it from the camera, but we can see if we look out the side window, it's no stopping, or no waiting, sorry, 5 AM until 10 AM. And this was filmed after 10 AM. So here's a question. Does it change if we're pulling up on the right hand side of the road? There's the obvious safety precaution that we are crossing in front of traffic coming towards us, but the places that we can stop during daylight hours are exactly the same. So we can stop on single yellow line here because it's outside of the restricted times. The guidance on stopping before and after the zigzags on pedestrian crossings, bus stops and that sort of thing are exactly the same. So let's have a look at an example of pulling up on the right. In this example, there is a car coming towards us that we need to give way to, so we take up a waiting position as though we were turning right, so over towards the centre line. Without going onto the wrong side of the road, we're going to park just after the double yellow lines. So let's drive on back onto our own side of the road and look at another example of pulling up on the right. Again, we're waiting for oncoming traffic, taking up a position to the middle, and we're going to aim for the place just after the drop curb. It's always good to try and move over a couple of car lengths before your chosen space and then drive forwards in a straight line. Because if this happens on a driving test, you can guarantee the examiner is going to ask you to reverse a couple of car lengths anyway. So now you've made certain that you're parallel to the curb and your wheels are straight, making it much easier to do the reverse. And here's an example of exactly that scenario. We identify there is a space on the right that we can just about get into. It's after a drop curb but before a parked car. Give way to oncoming traffic, move over a couple of car lengths early, and then drive forwards in a straight line. Now this is difficult to move off again because we can't see the traffic coming towards us. So we'll need to reverse probably a couple of car lengths. Now you know why that's on a driving test, so that we get a better view of the traffic coming towards us and we can rejoin the flow of traffic in a much safer way. So that's my take on pulling up on the left and right. It's a subject that I feel is neglected after the first couple of lessons, whereas actually I think I've hopefully demonstrated that it's actually a more important subject than you might think. Get out there and practice, looking for spaces that you can legally stop, even if it's only a tiny space between a parked car or in between two driveways where you're not blocking them. Look out for single and double yellow lines as well, although if it's a double yellow line, perhaps don't stop there on a driving test because the examiner wants to see you stop somewhere where you could potentially leave the car unattended. So we'll see you on another video very soon.